with the 2 bolts. It's very important.
Yeah, the other thing that's important, Sam, I'm gonna show you something.
Tell me.
You wanna make sure the fan goes round and round.
Oh, listen to it making noise.
Yeah, we've lost the bearing.
You've lost a bearing years ago.
It's a fact.
Welcome to Sam's Garage, presented by NH Oil Undercoating. On this episode of Sam's Garage, some long-awaited parts have arrived for Kevin's Jeep Wrangler. Doug's Mustang gets a new hood latch cable and radiator fan. Nelson Gill from ACC Performance sits down with Sam to talk shop. And Jeven Relaford's Camaro gets a new set of custom fit floor mats. Kevin's Jeep from last season is back in the garage to get a new transfer case and shifters installed. The guys waste no time tearing things down to install the new components.
The Lokar boys are back with the Jeep. I got Travis and Kevin from Lokar Performance with Kevin's personal 392 2021 Wrangler. We're getting it finished up, aren't we?
Yeah, we're finally getting all the parts rolling in that we've been waiting on. You know, it was a new platform in 21, so I'm excited. Atlas from Advanced Adapters sent us their new case and all the new adapters, and we'll get this thing out on the trail.
This reminds me of Tim Allen and Home Improvement. Look how big and burly this thing is.
And we got some shifters to put in as well.
Looks like it bolts
Direct
right to the
fit.
factory location.
Absolutely.
Looks like an easy project to me.
Except for taking out all the interior. When you guys are doing the transfer case R&R at home, the first thing you want to do, of course, is remove the drive shafts. Get them out of your way. And in our case, we're going to be putting an entire new exhaust system on the vehicle, so you want to get that out of your way. But if you're not going to do a new exhaust system, go ahead and get the midsection at least out of your way, because you're going to have to get access to the cross member. Now, don't forget that the cross member also shares hardware with the skid plate that also is the mount for the fuel tank. So if you get overzealous and go taking all your skid plate bolts off, your tank's going to fall straight down. You don't want to do that. Pull out the fluid from the transfer case so that just in case you turn it upside down, no fluid comes out of the vent tube on top of the transfer case. So you guys want to make sure to disconnect all the electrical connectors and all the Christmas trees holding the harness stationary to the transfer case. Now don't forget, you want to use a dead man. These things are heavy, so you want to use a dead man up front, you want to use a dead man in the back so you don't end up being a dead man. And then you guys can easily put a dead man also underneath the transmission's pan with a 2x4 across, spreading out the weight so that transmission stays put. Take it up in the air, because you're going to have to remove the 3 18mm nuts that holds the mount for the transfer case onto that cross member that's going to come down.
All right, so the interior of this project has a few steps that you need to be delicate with. You're taking apart the center console and you're taking a boot off. You can take the passenger seat out, but you don't need to. You can just take it loose, tilt it forward. It makes it easy to get to the plugs. Then you can get that center console out of your way. You gotta be real careful. It's a real thin, delicate boot. Just be easy, pull it around, make sure you're not pulling too hard and pinching it into something. It'll come out, and then you can get the shifter knob off. Then you can get everything else out and unplug. One thing I wanted to point out, kind of a tech tip. I noticed Sam had some of these old swivels like we all do. They're just worn out. You get a new one, it's gonna stay strong like this. But if you've got an old worn out one like this, and you're gonna need something to get to the top bolts on that transfer case, if yours is worn out and you can't get it up, it keeps falling, you can't get your hand in there, it keeps falling, just take an old O-ring, slip it over the top, and it goes right into the knuckle of that. Now it's good as new. It's actually a pretty cool trick I learned, and it'll hold position wherever you put it. So what we got to do now is finish routing our transfer case cables through the factory boot which is going to require us to cut the cable. Travis and I are pretty reluctant to want to cut parts. We want to save what we can, but in this case it appears that everything was molded and built together, so the only way to get the factory boot is to cut the cable. So if we ever need to replace it for some reason, we'll just have to buy another cable. We're not really all that worried about it. We'd rather have the finished product with the Atlas cables working with the factory boot instead of trying to come up with something crazy. So once we get that in, we'll go back in, we'll put the Atlas transfer case under the Jeep, we'll get all the shifter mechanisms hooked up, then we'll start installing everything from the bottom, and then finish up on the top when we're done adjusting everything.
That wasn't bad, was it? Looks like you got the cables run. Everything's ready to go. The new shifter is going to be assembled.
Yes.
Looks like it's going to bolt right in.
We're going to do that next week, aren't we?
Yes, we're going to do that next week, along with go to upstairs and do everything on the bottom, installing the transfer case, the brackets, the cables, the cross member, the new mount, and the adapter.
That should be pretty sweet.
Man, that Atlas transfer case is absolutely awesome.
And heavy.
Looks like it's going to handle a lot of power.
Yes.
Welcome back to Sam's Garage, presented by NH Oil Undercoating. Doug's Saleen Mustang receives a new hood latch cable because the original handle broke. While under the hood, the guys also replaced the radiator fan.
Ford did us a favor, knowing it was going to break often. They went ahead and put the cable in the engine bay and didn't hide it in the fender.
You know, actually, I think Ford really thought this out because they knew at some point in time you were going to have to replace it. So instead of like some makes running in the inside where it takes a long time, this is very fast when you run it in the inside. So, and you know what, Sam? First thing you want to do is check to make sure it works.
It does work.
It works.
You know what? Since this is so fast, we'll go ahead and have you install this one.
You know what? Even I can do this.
So the fan, if you guys notice, I took it out diagonally, okay? Because the upper hose is right there. I didn't want to disturb the cooling system, but I had enough room here by moving the expansion tank over to pull that guy, snake it up through this way, and got it out. That 8mm was a little bit difficult though. When you guys are installing the fan, believe it or not, as light as this may look because it's all plastic, it's got some weight to it, all right? So it's very important that you guys install it properly. We only have 2 bolts right here, 8mm heads, 6mm shafts. Then we have 3 pieces that slide into receivers on the radiator. It's very important that you get the bottom one in and the 2 side ones in because those 3 help support this heavy fan along with the 2 bolts. It's very important.
When you pull the cable out, as you know, take your time as you go through it, and then before you start putting it in, measure them both. Just put one, compare one to the other to make sure it's right. And so we went ahead and we did that.
And I lubed the rubber grommet that goes on the inside to make it easier to push into the firewall. Make sure you guys do that to keep the outside air in the engine bay.
Then as you go ahead and you snake it back in, there's just a couple little tricks that we did in order to be able to do it because we only had one of these little clips left. So I went ahead and took a cable tie, tied it, kept everything nicely in place. Then when you're lining up the latch, look for your marks. Make sure the marks that you took it off. If you don't have any marks, then you can always take a little bit of felt pen, mark right around it, so it'll go right back onto the existing spot. And this was very easy to do. I mean, I thought we might have to fight it, but everything just came real fast to be able to put the cable in.
Absolutely. And for those of you who may not know what a cable tie is, it's another word for a zip tie.
Well, you know, Sam, you do zips, I understand.
You know, Fresh, this is a perfect example of when you're out there, you're looking for purchase a car, and you're looking for the lowest miles. This thing's 22 years old, but it only has 11,000 miles on it. And what happens when things don't work? They fail sitting, just like the bearing on the fan.
Yeah, the plastic, everything, you know, if a bearing sits for a long time, if those type of things that happen, a little bit of corrosion gets in there, it starts to spin. It's not unusual, guys. You know, even though you think I've got a really low mileage car, cars have to run. I mean, you have to have bearings. You got heat cycles. You got cold, hot, cold. Plastic doesn't like that. Ultimately, it's just going to fail.
Yep, that's exactly right. right. Well, we took care of a lot of things on your car. The fan's good, the hood latch works, everything should work in there. I don't know how you broke that, but it's okay. Just try not to break this one.
Yeah, I'm going to try, Sam, but I don't guarantee anything. What can I say?
This thing's getting closer and closer to get back on the racetrack. The next thing we're going to do is take the gas out of the gas tank, put 93 back in, detune it, and then on this one, before you go home, we're going to make sure his AC works.
Yeah. When I got home before, I live in Oklahoma. It gets hot there, and it's important that you have AC. But Sam, I will tell you, we've just had another successful day at Sam's Garage.
Yes, we did. This thing's coming along really nice. I just got done doing the pipes exhaust system. I got me a builder kit, which is a bunch of pieces they give you. They give you the bends, they give you J's, they give you the straight pipes, they give it to you in stainless steel. And I got a muffler, 2 in, 2 out, because I wanted to use the muffler as the crossover tube. Instead of running an H pipe, I don't want it to sound like a Harley, so I took both banks to the muffler, and the muffler works as the H pipe. Don't forget that when you're doing this, building your own kit, you want to measure twice and cut once. Pieces are expensive, they're stainless steel, right? And you don't want to just waste money and waste your blades, because it's going to be really hard cutting that stainless steel. Builder kit from Pipes Exhaust Systems, you guys can do whatever you want, put the exhaust where you want, make it as quiet or as loud as you want. But don't forget, it is stainless steel, so when you're all done, before you introduce heat by cranking.
Welcome back to more Sam's Garage, presented by NHOU. Nelson Gill from ACC Performance takes a few minutes to sit down with Sam and talk cars. The guys discuss the opportunities in the automotive industry for technicians and how Nelson got into cars. Skilled technicians are in demand more than ever, and is a great way to learn a living.
Nelson Gill from ACC Performance with a WRX behind him. That's his personal car. That's pretty cool.
I appreciate that, man.
So were you always into imports, or?
On and off. I mean, I've always been really impressed how you could take, back in the day I had a Chrysler Laser, and it was only a 135 cubic inch motor and was able to pull 500 plus horsepower out on the ground.
That's quadrupling the horsepower back in the 80s. And it was so much fun, wasn't it? You learned so much.
Trial and error on so many different things. We did some really sketch stuff. I don't know if it was...
But it worked.
It was helping, but...
and you had the right ideas.
Yes.
That's the cool thing. And don't you want to sit here and educate all those youth out there and get them to understand just how much fun can be had by being a technician, playing with cars like the Camaro and the new school imports behind you?
Well, so much so, I actually have my daughter involved. She started helping me clean cars and change my wife's diesel fuel filter and stuff. What really injected her into doing this is a program that's out there called the Hot Rodders of Tomorrow. I've been involved for the last 5 years, and my daughter came across their booth at Lane Automotive Car Show. So at the age of 5 years old, my daughter tore down a Briggs & Stratton engine all the way down and rebuilt it back up. So it just needed fuel, fire, and oil, and it would have run.
And she remembers that forever because she was so impressionable at 5 years old.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And then now here she is later on building torque converters and working in your shop with you. The more youth we can get involved into this industry, the more tools we sell in the future, the more parts that we continue to sell in the future. The motorsport keeps on living, and that's very important because cars are a huge part of society. It's a huge industry for economy as well.
Finding the right mentors. Nobody does anything by themselves. They learn from other people. My daughter's into welding. She loves to weld. She runs CNC lathe machines. She learned that when she was 6 years old. Building torque converters started around when she was 6. She does a phenomenal job in doing these things. Of course, she's overseen. She's underage. I mean, she just turned 10. Hey, just get in there and do things. Change an air filter with your family. Go wash your cars with your family. Go check out all the different shapes and forms, all the different cars and where they came from. It's a complete history. First year college students on average is going to be somewhere between 37 and 40 grand a year. You can easily do that in all kinds of different industries working with your hands. Now, I've also seen other things in statistics where they're showing to be in the top 10 percentile in the world is around $54,000, $55,000 a year. To be in the top 10 percentile in the United States is like $74,000, $75,000 a year.
This is from a Job Corps foundation called Jacob's Creek. This is a welding teacher that taught their students how to put this together. This is a piece of metal, looks like a log. These are all weld beads done by hand, and they made a little sculpture out of it. And you know, it feels really good to do something like this with your hands. There's that stigma that it's bad to be blue collar. There's nothing wrong with that, because working with your hands, one, it feels good, and just think of how much more items you learn, what other fields you can go into. Like if you're a technician like myself, you can do plumbing, electrical, you can work on anything at home. You don't have to ever call a handyman.
Just never shortcut yourself in what you can do.
For the youth out there who want to get into this business, there's such an opportunity for them because they can get into the ground floor, learn this. There's a shortage of technicians right now.
Yes, there is.
So we need the technicians, and they need to learn the diagnostics behind it, the systems. That's why it's important for us to continue what we're doing, which is going to schools, mentoring, talking to the students. Any kind of questions and answers, any kind of education we can give them, it's going to be very key, very important today.
Welcome back to Sam's Garage, presented by NHOU. 3D Mats USA are designed by an award-winning team of engineers that create high-quality universal and custom-fit floor mats for cars, trucks, and SUVs. Check out Jeven Relaford's Camaro ZL1. Get a new set of these high-performance floor mats that will protect for the life of the vehicle.
Yo, Sam, do you have anything I can clean my windshield with, or maybe put some floor mats or something? Because
Absolutely, you're doing a good job vacuuming. I'll get you some window cleaner for the windshield, but I'm noticing your passenger mat, that thing is completely moved up and wrinkled. We may have a solution for that. All right, Jeven, I got the glass cleaner you asked for. We're ready to get this thing spick and span so that you can sell it, right?
Let's do it.
Now, why do you want to sell it?
I'm just looking for more room, but I still want speed, so.
I'm with you. Now tell everyone who you are.
I'm a recording artist. You can find me on Spotify, Apple Music, Instagram, TikTok, but that'll be at Jeven Relaford, simply that.
Now he is going to be moving up. We're going to be selling this car. We're going to make it really nice. And the first place to protect is going to be the carpet, because a lot of you guys carry huge drinks and you spill them. So to protect that carpet, you're going to need something like these 3D floor mats. These are laser measured. They actually go in with a laser. They measure the carpet and they give you a floor mat that's completely form fit to the carpet, and it's very nice. Unlike the competition, it's not thin, it's not going to curl on you, and it's not going to make your car look like a work truck. They got two styles. This is the Kagoo, and this is an all-weather mat. They've got a patented design on the bottom to keep the mat from moving. And then it'll be nice. This is the Elegant. This basically complements the carpet that's in the car, right? Look how nice that is.
It does.
And it's thick. Both of them have a foam insert to make them comfortable, and they're not just a piece of plastic.
Yeah, you can tell that this isn't just cheap carpet.
So this is going to add some value when they open the door of the car. That's the first thing you see is the floor and the seats. It's got to be nice, got to look good, it's got to pop, you know what I mean? So we're going to continue cleaning the car out, and then we'll go ahead and install these.
All right, cool.
All right? All right, Jeven, check out the difference between these two floor mats. It's crazy, right? This is the factory driver's floor mat. No room, no coverage, doesn't do a lot of protecting there, right? This is the factory one that 3D mat sells. Completely covers every inch of the floor, right? And this is the Elegant one. And they've got an anti-skid backing that's going to keep this floor mat in place. Even though the underneath of this has these little dimples to keep it in place, look what happened to the passenger one.
Yeah.
Completely destroyed. So once you go ahead and put that one in,
Oh man,
go ahead and
I
put the
appreciate
passenger
this.
one in.
Thank you, man. You know what, Sam? I like these mats a lot. One of the, the cooler things about them is definitely the coverage that I get here. The dead pedal is covered up, so it's not gonna keep getting dirt on it. And this anchor right here has a really good cover and a nice snap because it just locks in really good. You can hear the click. It keeps dirt out.
Now the Kagoo here on this side, that's really good protection. Not only is it going to be covering the floor, it's not going to move with the anti-skid backing that's patented that they got on this. And it's going to protect it for, let's say you go to track days. Now when you go to track days, you have to pull out all your mats, but it's a dirty environment. So when you're getting out of there, make sure you put your mats in. But if you're doing a mountain run, that's perfect. You can leave them in, you'll have that added protection, and you won't have to take them out. It's going to be really nice. Good job, Jeven. Looks really good. I think this thing's almost ready to sell. We're gonna take it to ECCR first, have my friend Mike do a good ceramic coating on it, and then we should be ready to go.
All right, Sam, I really appreciate your help cleaning this car and getting it ready to sell, man.
No problem, man. It looks good. Your dad's gonna be proud. There are 6,000 other SKUs if you guys wanna check out 3D mats for your car. You wanna protect your investment and you wanna do it in a good-looking way, this is the way to go. And if you guys wanna also check out Jeven Relaford at Spotify, he does an awesome job. I've known this guy since he was 6 months old.
Be sure to check out Sam's Garage on these other media platforms. Send us questions and feedback to info@samsgaragetv.com. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Sam's Garage. Kevin's Jeep Wrangler now has a heavy-duty transfer case with upgraded shifters. Doug's Mustang received a new hood latch cable and radiator fan. Nelson and Sam helped shed some light on opportunities in the automotive industry. And Sam installs a fresh set of premium floor mats in Jeven's Camaro ZL1.